teams, Metallica. With 9 Grammy Awards and 14 nominations, 38 concert tours worldwide, and 11 studio albums that span 4 decades, the Titans of Thrash remain the standard by which all other metal is measured. We begin with a 1984 classic from their second album, For Whom the Bell Tolls, followed by the 1992 tour anthem, Wherever I May Roam. And then, let's turn down the house and light up the stage with the Auburn University Marching Band and their show, Metallica.
Well, it's finally final, I think. 95-90, the Auburn Tigers' first basketball game of the 2025-26 season is official. The Auburn Tigers are victorious over Bethune-Cookman. We're going to talk about it here in our reaction post-game show. The stats, the score, the storylines, all of that. We'll get it together here at some point and figure out if this is actually done. Let's get into it right now. War Eagle, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we discuss and share and experience the Auburn experience, all about Auburn sports, Auburn culture, Auburn family stuff. An easier way to say it, though, might be if it's orange and blue, it's what we do. So thank you so much for joining us and what we're going to be doing on this particular show. Post-game reaction, Auburn versus Bethune-Cookman, the very first game of the 2025-26 season. We have the very first win of this season, the very first win of the Stephen Pearl era, the first of this brand new team, aside from Tahad Pettiford. There are 1,000 different ways that we can discuss this particular game. And boy, was it ever going to end? I don't think a lot of us had it on our bingo card that this Auburn Tiger team would be taken down to the wire by Bethune-Cookman. Although if you did a little bit of research, you maybe aren't shocked that this is not too bad of a team out there. We'll talk about it all. This is our reaction show. Very similar to what we do on football post-game shows, but I think a little bit different of its own thing. Anyway, let's start the show off as we always do by welcoming you in. We appreciate those of you that are joining us live, those of you that are catching the replay or the audio format of this as well. So come on in, say hello, share it out, wherever you're watching, listening. We appreciate you being here. We love you having you here as part of our little family within the Auburn family. And if you're brand new to us, finding us for the first time, subscribe, follow wherever you are so you can be part of this in the future, because we got a lot of Auburn basketball to break down over the coming months, and it's going to be a fun basketball season. I can't believe it's officially here, folks. I'm excited for good reason here too. Let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, and I don't mean Micah. Sorry, Micah. Sorry, he's one of our viewers for people who are watching later or listening. But we obviously went live a little bit early, and I assumed when I heard the last shot get missed of the, of the regulation, what was supposed to be regulation. It was regulation, I guess. I thought we were safe to go, but little did I know there was a foul called, and we decided to take this thing into overtime, and Auburn finally gets the win, 95-90 over Bethune-Cookman. Still processing all of this a little bit. I think it's important to always acknowledge first that a round of applause and a tip of the cap, so to speak, to what may be the eventual SWAC champions, Bethune-Cookman, and based off the talent that we saw versus Auburn, it would be stand to reason that they might have a shot at being pretty good this year. So we become Bethune-Cookman fans for the rest of the season, wanting them to continue build our resume win versus them. So what we're going to do, post-game show, is traditional. We walk through stats to get to the storylines, and I love diving into the details, especially in basketball. Most of you who've been here for a while will know sometimes I'll get even nitty-gritty about this and focus on these particular things, and we're not going to stop doing that. We do want to take some commentary from you all throughout the show as much as we can, especially maybe at the end of things, but you guys get into the chat and interact with us. It's it's one to kind of, I'm still just coming down from the high of all this, just the excitement of basketball being back, but also the way this one went down made us all interesting. You got your money's worth if you came to a Monday night basketball game versus Auburn for Auburn and Bethune-Cookman. Yeah, so a lot of you are acknowledging we went live a little early. That's funny, and I'm glad that a lot of you are recognizing how good Bethune-Cookman might be. We are sitting here in game one, folks, so you should not be taking any overarching opinions about Auburn, about Bethune-Cookman the rest of the season. This is just game one, trying to get our feet officially wet. You've had two preseason games, certainly that give you a perspective of things, but it's not the actual things that count quite yet. These are the moments that count right now. You can look at all of the different people who recognize that here in our chat already. So let's break it down. Let's talk about it. 95-90, Auburn wins in overtime. I want to know from you all to start off, who is your player of the game? Who do you think it should be? Obviously, when you look at stats, some of people set themselves very much apart in points. Always look a little bit further into the details, though, about where they contributed in rebounds, assists, things like that. But if you're here live, we'd love to hear your perspective of it. If you're watching the replay, you can obviously share in the comments who you think should be player of the game. And even if it's pretty obvious or unanimous, give them a shout out. And if there's someone throughout the stream that you think needs a shout out, needs a recognition for a play, things like that, certainly don't be shy in doing that. Your top scorer this evening is Keyshawn Hall. No surprise if you've been listening to a lot of the hype around him, if you've been paying attention to how it's been going with the preseason games. You've got him with 28 points on the day, 5 for 11, 2 for 4 from three-point land, 16 for 18 from the free throw line. That alone may have just gotten me player of the game nomination for me, because I am a big stickler for free throws. 5 rebounds, 1 assist, only 2 personal fouls, 4 turnovers in his play in 38 minutes, which is tied for the most out of everybody on the floor. The next most would be Tahad Pettiford. So 28 points. Keyshawn Hall was billed as the scorer that Auburn needed in this roster alongside Tahad, and he has proven that in game one and a little bit in preseason as well. So many of you are already doing your recognitions of who that should be. There's Murphy until overtime. Then it was Hall. Hall took over. I'm really pleased by some things that I saw from a lot of players tonight. A lot of you have asked me who I'm most interested in seeing throughout the season. And to me, it's been Keyshawn Murphy. So let's take a look at that, because I'm just interested to see what he is going to do in terms of replacing Janai Dillon as the big man of choice, playing in the SEC. Can it translate over here to Auburn? The answer is, in one game, yes. So for him, 17 points, 8 of 9 from the field. Talk about being efficient, 1 for 1 from three-point land. He missed his 1 free throw attempt tonight, 8 rebounds, so just shy of a double-double. 4 assists. He actually shared the ball the second most out of all the players tonight, and as the big man, that's an impressive stat. Only 1 personal foul and no turnovers in 20 minutes of play. Keyshawn Hall's got a pretty good stat line. Keyshawn Murphy has got also a pretty good stat line when we're looking at this thing. I don't know that you can just out of hand just say it's Keyshawn Hall just because of the points. Look at the efficiency of Mr. Keyshawn Murphy. It's going to get confusing doing Keyshawn and Keyshawn. I know they're spelled differently, but a little love going Sway's way. Sway, who is that? That is Sebastian Williams Adams. That is a very long name, so we'll probably be calling him Sway like his teammates do the rest of the season. He is 15 points on the day, 5 for 8 from the field, 1 for 1 from the three-point arc, 4 for 8 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds. He really stuck out to me tonight in 29 minutes of play. Pretty good amount of time that he got in there. He seemed to be on a roll at times for such a young talent. That was very, very impressive to see out of him so early. And we saw a little bit of that in preseason as well, if you were paying attention. So big shout out to Sway tonight. How cool is this, folks, that we have got 5 players in double-digit points? We're 1 point shy of another player doing double digits. Everybody scores except for 2 players that see playing time tonight, and those are on the lower end of your playing time, the ones that didn't score. Let's keep rolling here. So we've talked about Keyshawn Murphy at 28 points. It should be Keyshawn Hall at 28, Murphy at 17. At 15 was Sebastian Williams Adams, Sway. Let's keep going down. Kevin Overton, another one of your starters, 13 points, 5 for 11 from the field, all his free throws, 2 rebounds, 1 assist. Pretty efficient for him tonight as well. Tahad Pettiford, how about that? 11 points. He did what he needed to do tonight. He's a little bit inefficient from the 3-point arc, but he'll get it back. Free throws is probably a little bit disappointed. He shared the ball the most tonight, which is what you want to see out of him, probably evolving in his game. We know he can score. We know he can take over, but continuing to share the ball well is probably an area that he needs to continue to show that. Man, it's some good stats here all the way around. Really liking what I'm seeing. 5 players in double digits. And we kind of went through those again. Keyshawn Hall, Keyshawn Murphy, Sebastian Williams-Adams, Kevin Overton, and then Tahad Pettifor. Just for notice tonight, Keyshawn Murphy did not start. I would imagine that is due to limiting his minutes for coming back from that injury in the preseason. Your starters were Tahad Pettifor, Kevin Overton, Elijah Freeman, Keyshawn Hall. I'm going to get them all straight. And Philip Jovic starting, I guess, technically at your center position tonight, or your big man position tonight overall. A couple of you are coming in, just hanging out in the chat. Had to watch Andy here on YouTube. Sounded like Overton was the dude late. He did play very well. A lot of guys played well tonight. I think I've seen some people talk about it. It's a little bit of a sloppy game at times tonight. Certainly, that is something that you are not surprised by seeing in a first game of the season. From Unbeaten Lake, he says, we're definitely going to miss Janai and Broom. Cardwell is what he meant there. He corrected himself in the paint this season. That was rough. We'll look at it in the stats and see how it looks just after that. But certainly, I think there's some things that could have been done just a little bit better in certain areas tonight. But you got to give credit to Bethune-Cookman. The rest of your scorers this evening: Elijah Freeman with 9, Philip Jovic with 2, and that's it. Abdul Bashir, Caden Magwood did not get any points this evening. So the Auburn Tigers play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I counting that right? 9 players tonight. 10 players tonight. 9. There it is. I think I've got it. I think most people that you expected to play got in to play this evening. Is there anybody tonight that deserves a little bit more of a discussion shout out before we get into the team things, team storylines? Certainly we can come back to those if we need to. So drop those in the chat for those of you that are watching live this evening. We don't want to skimp over anything, and we're just taking everything in like a waterfall this evening in the first game with how exciting it was. Just a reminder for how the scoring went down based off of half. Auburn led only by 1 in the first half. At the end of it, 38-37. They lost the second half. That's the tied score, 44-43, but scored 14-9 in overtime to result in that 95-90 score. Yeah, Mikey, you may have missed us talking about Tahad. Tahad had a night that probably maybe was a little bit less than he and others were expecting out of him, with only 11 points. Did not shoot well from the 3-point arc. Got 2 of them. He did share the ball really well as an assist guy. So it was, something that he, probably, is probably a little bit disappointed in himself on, but he still got into double-digit points tonight and was a big contributor in the game, part of the 5 guys in double digits tonight. Okay, let's look at team stats. I love looking at the team stats because what we're going to look at here all season is, first of all, the big 3. The big 3 are rebounds, turnovers, and free throws. You will hear me harp on that all season. And if that bores you, if that is something that you think is stupid, I'm sorry, but trust me, I played the game, I've coached the game, I've done everything. Those are the 3 most important things to me on a team stat sheet: free throws, rebounds, and turnovers. They will usually tell you who is going to win the game. We're also going to try to find the team stat that tells the story tonight. That is the most important one out of all of that. So as we walk through that, as you hear me reading off some of it, we won't bore you with every single aspect. That's what we're going to be looking for tonight. This is an investigative look into breaking down in our post-game show. All right, let's start with free throws to get us in the big 3 tonight. Bethune-Cookman, 89% from the field. That is 8 out of 9. Now, they did not shoot a lot of free throws tonight, but they made 8 out of 9. So while that stat looks very much in their favor, you have to kind of wonder, do you really factor that in with so few taken compared to how many Auburn took this evening from the free throw line, 27 to 38, 71%, which isn't the worst thing that we have seen in this world, but it's certainly not as high as I would like to see it. So 80%, even despite the few shot by Bethune-Cookman compared to Auburn, I'm still going to give them the win in that category just because they had a better shooting percentage, and so that was enough there. If Auburn shoots just a little bit better from the free throw line tonight, this is maybe a much less scary of a situation tonight. Dalton even talks about, a couple of you are already talking about that. Free throws were so much better in the second half. Free throws got better in the second half. That's from Dalton. First half was bad, if I remember correctly. I think you are correct in that. I don't have the breakdown by half there. Let's look at rebounds tonight. Bethune-Cookman, 33 total rebounds, Auburn 40. So they win that. So which is interesting and this is why we'd like to get y'all's perspectives in all of this too. Some of you said that rebounding was disappointing tonight. But when you look at the stats, it favors Auburn tonight, at least in the totals. Let's see how it breaks down. Bethune-Cookman 1 defensive rebounds. Offensive rebounds, Auburn doubles up Bethune-Cookman. So that is what put them in the lead in that category overall. And that's, frankly, offensive rebounds are the things that are going to really make the biggest difference right there, because it's an extra opportunity for you to take something away for yourself and away from the other team. So offensive rebounds very much in the favor of Auburn. So that's a win for Auburn in that category. And finally, turnovers. This is a good baseline. All of this is a baseline, right? Bethune-Cookman with 13 turnovers tonight. Auburn with 11. Auburn wins that category. They win 2 out of the 3. They win a close one. We'll still look for the tail of the tape in the stats overall. But there you go. In the big 3 for me, Auburn is the winner. It makes a lot of sense with how the game went. It was close. Very close. I would say, just guessing based off what I know of a Coach Pearl-led team, and I mean either of them, Stephen or Bruce in the past, that 11 turnovers is not where they want to be, and so that's something that can be a little bit cleaned up in the in practices this week before they get to the next game. Let's keep walking through some stats here. Field goal percentage tonight in the favor of Bethune-Cookman. That's what you got to do when you're on the road. You got to shoot well, and they did 51%. 3-point percentage, 55%. That will really, really help you. And they technically shot well free throw, but just very few attempts. Shooting the ball well is what kept Bethune-Cookman in this game, and that's probably a good candidate for the stat of the game or the tail of the tape, however we want to call it this year. Walking down further through the team stats, we've got second chance points. That's in the favor of Auburn, 7-19. That is pretty significant. Points in the paint, 44-48 in the favor of Auburn. So very, very close there. But the fact that Bethune-Cookman had so many is quite interesting. Fast break is in the favor of Bethune-Cookman by a few. Blocks in the favor of Bethune-Cookman. Steals 8-9 for Auburn, and then Bethune-Cookman, just a long name to say, assist wins by 3 tonight. Times tied 13. Yeah, 13. Tied for 6 minutes 11 seconds. 31 lead changes. Auburn led most of the way. You got to give credit to Bethune-Cookman, y'all. They came in here, were unafraid, and showed that some of the preseason hype, if you look up on some lists and things like that, a lot of people have them listed as the expected winner of the SWAC, which goes back to show you, in terms of a big storyline, what Auburn has been known for with this staff, which is the exact same pretty much, besides Bruce, at finding mid-major opponents that are expected to be the champions or near the champions or are the reigning champions. They bring those in as part of this roster, as part of the schedule to challenge the roster each and every year. So they've done it again, and I think they bit off a little bit more. Not more than they can chew. They just bit off a big chunk tonight with the Wildcats this evening. I'm going to be glad when we don't have to go over that 1,000 different times. Bethune-Cookman, Bethune-Cookman, Bethune-Cookman. All right, again, your score 90-95. Auburn Tigers win. We've walked through the individual stats, the team stats, the big 3 of the team stats. I'll tell you this. I hadn't given you a clear team stat of the game. To me, looking at it right now, it's probably the second chance points, 7 of 19. More than doubled up Bethune-Cookman in that. That's such a big differential there that I got to look at that and say that's probably the the big one of the game. I think someone in our chat also called that out this evening. So once again, your final score 90-95. Auburn wins. A lot of you put Keyshawn Hall as the player of the game, but with 5 guys in double figures, you got a lot of options there. Sebastian Williams-Adams as a freshman had a great game. Keyshawn Murphy also had a great game as well. Man, it's good stuff here. And I think I see some people talking about overreactions in social media. I mean, I don't know why we're shocked at that, but that's just what happens. For one game, nothing to get really upset about. It's the first game after all. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to spend the rest of our time diving into some of your comments, questions specifically about this game. We can do a little bit of future talk and thinking about the next game, but really not going to go into great detail beyond that or even that much looking ahead. We're really just trying to make sure we flesh out everything that we need to discuss from this game. So don't be shy. Come into the chat. Let us know what we have or haven't talked about that you feel that we need to discuss a little bit more tonight. A question, a comment. How about that final foul at the end of the game? Let me give you a couple of reminders for your content of the week. You've got a lot to look forward to, as you always do here. We've got Auburn Family Night, not tomorrow, Wednesday night at 9 Eastern Time, 8 Central, live call-in show. We will be taking comments, questions, topics. We want to hear from you. If you're here for the first time tonight, this is a great place to kind of get acquainted with us, with our audience, and get to know each other, and maybe even get your voice heard if you want to utilize the call-in link. This isn't the only post-game show this week. Thursday night, we've got Auburn versus Merrimack. We'll break that one down. Hopefully, it'll be less of a heart stopper. Yeah, less of a heart stopper. And that does mean that we will have a conflict of times for some of our other scheduled content, such as our preview and prediction show for Vanderbilt. We will not be doing that this week. I just won't have the time to do so. And other cue cards that we don't have ready, we'll do a post-game show for Auburn versus Vanderbilt football and be back on Sunday for the Auburn Experience episode 149, one away from 150. You've got a lot to look forward to this week just in their live streams alone. Okay. Let's get into a bunch of stuff here, see what you guys are thinking about the rest of our commentary for this game. This is from WT. Inbound defense needs to improve as well. It was a strength for so long, not horrible, just not up to what we were used to. Certainly, one game is not a reflection that it's going to be a problem, but I would agree with you, WT, that one of the things that Pearl, just using that as a plural right now, lead units are known for is their defense, but their inbound defense as well. It's a brand new squad, too. People are forgetting that, probably a lot on social media, that it's going to take a little bit of time for everything to gel very, very nicely. Unbeaten Lake, I just hope it doesn't become a trend of teams making shots look easy. Oklahoma State did the same thing to us in the preseason game. One thing, it's also from Unbeaten Lake, one thing I extremely missed so much tonight was Dylan Cardwell getting the entire arena hyped up. So that's a great point. Even just some of the nuances of a team and all that kind of stuff. Who is going to fill those types of roles? Who's your Janai, your leader? Who's your new superstar? We can start making some of those guesses based off of tonight. Who is going to be your hype man? Who's going to be the leader on and off the court? Your Chris Moore type of guy. Who's going to fill all of those roles that were so crucial to some of the great basketball teams that we've known over the past couple of years? A couple of you have talked about Philip Jovic looking nervous or just maybe not ready completely. He did at one play I really didn't have time to comment on social media. He gave up a turnover, but hustled down the floor and got a block. Those are the types of things that redeem you even in rough starts. And so I want to give a little bit credit where credit is due. So always remember that, but certainly he's getting accustomed to a new game. Europe is a little bit different than especially college United States basketball. Let's see here. Could the overreactions be because of some other Auburn things? Certainly, Micah, they could be, and it's fair game. Look, people love to do overreactions because they get likes and reactions to those types of things. But it isn't it. It says just notice if you hit the like button, it has a basketball, a bouncing animation. Are you making that up, Micah, or is that actually true? Because that is amazing if that's actually true now. And I'm going to have to figure out what setting I did, what what SEO I did to make that happen. If that is true, that makes me so happy for the future of our post-game shows. It's awesome. That is very, very awesome. Okay. So this is what it's going to look like a lot this year, folks. We're going to try our best to make every single post-game show. I'm sure there will be a few that we miss throughout the year, maybe one or two, but our goal is to do an every single post-game reaction show. So if this is something that you connect with, this is a great time to join up with us. Make sure you're following, subscribing, wherever you are, wherever you're listening, wherever you're watching, live or after the show. Whichever way you can, it is pretty awesome that we get to be together and do this as much as we do during basketball season. I'm going to have such a great time as we do every single season talking about basketball. This is my sport that I feel the most prepared to pretend, at least, that I'm an expert in it, pretend to be an expert and talk a little bit more in detail with it about you guys. And I hope that comes through because this is just so much fun every single time we do this every year. A lot of you are confirming, look, it's the same thing for football too. All right. I love to hear that there's a bounce. When you hit the like button, if for some reason, when we set it up this way, it is a basketball emoji. That is pretty awesome. This is from Brent. He says, how do you beat Memphis that bad and then do this? Brent, this sounds like a little bit of an overreaction. You might be falling into that crowd. You know, a little bit crazy to overreact to a first game. And it shows me maybe you didn't look a little bit into Bethune-Cookman just to find out a little bit about them. They are likely to win the SWAC this year, at least based off of preseason notes about them. Just because Memphis is a big name doesn't mean that they are the Memphis that they always are going to seem to be. They've had some down years over that. So we'll just kind of wait for the narrative to continue to build over the season and see what is or isn't true. Overreactions right now are exactly what they are. Overreactions. So my encouragement to you, Auburn fans, don't let the things outside of basketball ruin this for you. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. And we have a lot of newness to get excited about. And shout out this time to our brand new head coach for women's basketball, Larry Vickers, who got his first win tonight versus Charleston. Charlotte. And that was on the road. First win of his era. And that's the first win of the season. That's also a great thing to call out tonight as well. We're going to call it a show here. Your final score, 90-95. Auburn wins in overtime. We had to do take two on that. If you watched, if you caught that little gem at the end, that was for the first stream, that was quite a bit to look at my face when I realized the game was still going on. Final score 90-95. Most people are saying that Keyshawn Hall should be player of the game, and that is probably most likely. For me, the big stat of the game is going to be that second chance point, 7 for Bethune-Cookman, 19 for Auburn, doubling up Bethune-Cookman, and probably won the game for the Auburn Tigers. What an exciting way to start the season, the Stephen Pearl era, not the Bruce Pearl, Stephen Pearl era, and everything that's going to be great about college basketball season. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family. Thank you so much for participating with us. And as you go, I want to remind you of this, that the Auburn Creed asks you to do these things: to do justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with God. We're going to ask you to do the same. War Eagle.